Welcome to the Tribe 66 podcast. I'm your host, Christie, and I'm super excited you're here this week, ladies. If this is your first time checking out a podcast, Tribe 66 really, it's just a community where you're going to belong, where we're going to grow, and we show up every single week. So I'm very excited you're here. I've been really wanting to do this episode. I love to nerd out about some money, ladies, and that's what we're talking about this week is money. And I know that can be a little bit of a source of either peace or stress and anxiety for some of us. And I'll be really transparent. I spent most of my 20s in debt, in broke, and freaking out how my next dollar is going to come. I literally spent every dime I had, and I never was on a budget. I didn't give much time and where my money was going. And honestly, it caused so much stress in my life. And it took me a really long time to get out of that. And I'm so thankful. A few years ago, my church had given us, all our members, a membership to Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. And it really changed the game for me, ladies. I learned so much through that. And I really just thought about money in a different way. I had this notion that if you have a budget, that means you're restricted. And I'm a spender. I love to go on trips. I love to get things. And a lot of times I didn't want to even put a budget in because I thought it would restrict me from living a life that I couldn't have or couldn't do. And oh, ladies, I was so wrong. And I really learned a lot from that course, but also just in the book, the Bible itself. There's so much good wisdom in there that God gives us about money. And I'm really excited this week to talk about that with you, ladies, and to share the things that I learned. And it really changed my life. I'm so thankful that I'm in a place now that going through the program and sticking with it, that it's the first time in my 40s that I'm completely debt-free. And it was a long journey and it took there. And I really had to say no to some things and keep the discipline in there. But I tell you what, ladies, it is so good on this side and it is a freedom in it. And I just know, like I said last episode, we can do hard things. And I don't know where you're at with your money. And if you are a little bit struggling or maybe you're a little bit dead and you have some financial goals, this is definitely the episode for you. And I'm just going to pass along some of this great knowledge that I learned. But when I was coming up with this episode, God really put on my heart, He wants access to us, all parts of us. God cares not only about our health and our relationship, but our money. And in order to be in this financial peace, yes, we can walk through these steps, but ladies, we've got to invite God into our finances and into our budget, into those every day. It's really easy to pray over our health or our friend that's going through something, but a lot of times we're not praying over a budget. Lord, I need you to come into this. I need you to show me a way. It's obedience is part of it, but asking God to come into your finance. And I'm telling you, ladies, I have seen God come through some miracles for me, some overpayments I didn't know I had, or checks in the mail when I just continue to check on it and walk out in obedience. And I'm just going to invite you ladies to really this week, invite God into your finances. And trust me, whatever you did in the past, He don't care. He wants to be in there with it, and He's going to help you get a way out. So I always like to start my first episode with a Bible verse that I think really goes along with what we're talking about. So this week, Matthew 6:26 popped up, and I think it's perfect for today. And it says here, "Look at the birds. They don't plant or harvest or store food in barns, for your heavenly Father feeds them. Aren't you more valuable to them than they are? Can your worries add a single moment to your life?" What God's saying here is, I call everything creature on this earth, I provide for them. There is nothing they don't have, nothing they won't need. You are so much valuable to all these things I take care of every single day. God cares about us. He wants us to thrive and do well. And I promise you, ladies, just like He does our health and everything else, He cares about us and He cares about our money. And we are so much valuable. And He says, don't worry about it. You can trust me. I got you, girl. I'm going to take care of you. And I'm a proof in the pudding, ladies. He will come through. He will definitely come through. But I really want us to ask ourselves, where is our trust? Is it in those paychecks that we're getting weekly or biweekly from our job? Is it the size of our savings account? Is our 401k, our retirement? Is that where we're getting security from? We need to be getting that from the Lord, lady, because I'm telling you, who knows what's going to happen with the stock market, all these we don't know what the future is going to hold. And this is where we got to go in our faith that the Lord is going to provide. And He's going to teach us some great things about wisdom and our money, but where really the blessings come through is having God in on it. So I want us to walk this week before we really get into nerding out over, budgets and all these type of things. I really want us to start with trust and getting to a place that we can trust God with our finances and our money. And I'll be honest with you, surrendering all my stuff to God, especially my finances, was terrifying for me. I'm just a type A control freak. I'm an Aries. I don't know if any of you are Aries out there, but we kind of strong-minded and we like to be in control of things. I have an idea of how I like my budget to go and when the bills are going to be paid and how they're going to be paid this way. But a lot of times, ladies, His plan and our plan are very, very different. He knows better than we do. And a lot of times we try to rush things or cut corners or do the things, but a lot of times it's not going to work out as good as if we were patient and trusting God in these financial hardship seasons. And looking back, if I can be honest with you, that's where I had my most growth. A lot of these seasons where I was really struggling with my finances or having to figure these things out, I learned to be content for what I had. I learned patience. I learned endurance. And I learned a trust and dependency on God. And I wouldn't have had those things if I didn't put all my trust to Him and hand all these things over. And I think, especially if you've been doing the same thing for a really long time, I'm going to invite you ladies this week. Let's let God hand it off to Him. Let Him know. Bring it all to the altar. And I promise you, ladies, you can trust Him. He's going to work it out. He's good, and it made me think of another Bible verse too. I kind of made a note here. It's Luke 16. And it says, what's the last verse? 16:10. And it says, whoever can be trusted in very little can be trusted with much. When I was in my 20s and 30s and broke, I didn't have more because I couldn't be trusted with the little bit God gave me. He threw the hardships and life lessons and nice things I had to learn to grow when I was broke. And once I eventually kind of surrendered myself in and started to live off less than I made and got wise with my money, God started giving me a little bit more things to steward. And I tell you what, I'm so glad I went through this hard times because it taught me to be wiser with money and really want to learn more about money. So I'm going to encourage you, ladies. It's okay if you got a little much right now. He's going to grow something in you. And before you know it, if you can trust in Him, it's going to increase and it's going to grow. And I definitely want us to lock down this week. And really, if you haven't thought about a budget in a long time, I really want to talk about that this week and a lot of some of the basic principles that I did learn when I went through the Dave Ramsey's program. Because I really think that is where it starts out. If you're living, paycheck to paycheck and you're not really giving much effort or time into where your money's going, it's going to go bye-bye. That's what I say. Those plans don't ever work. We need to be intentional of where the money is going and how it's going. So I'm really going to encourage us this week to get on a budget. But before we do that, I really want us to bring it back to tithing. And I don't know if you've ever heard about tithing, but essentially, if you translate that word into the Bible, it simply just means a tenth. God says it. Well, one, there are over 2,000 verses in the Bible about either money, stewardship, or possessions. 2,000, ladies. Like, that's the most talked about scriptures in the Bible is money. So obviously God thought it was very, very important. But he does mention quite a few times about tithing and bringing your first 10% to the Lord. And maybe yourself is not actively in a church or in that type of thing right now, but it's really it's giving back the first 10% to God and honoring him with that. And he says, you will have the other 90%. And I will say, for the longest time, I did not tithe. And, everything was going okay. But like I said, I wasn't really walking out in these principles very much. But I'm going to tell you, ladies, once God finally put on my heart and I was starting to feel convicted that I wasn't tithing and all these things. And once I started giving my first 10%, faithfully to God, let me tell you, I had crazy miracles happen in my life. I'm talking like I was saying earlier, checks were coming in the mail for overpayments that I had done or things I had settled. I had like rebates for tax-free on the houses because we're military. I mean, all these things were just pouring in. I had people blessing me, and it was just insane of watching God come through. Saying, hey, if obedience you were doing here and you're walking that things out, I'm going to match you with that. And it was just absolutely amazing. And he still comes through today. I faithfully tithe no matter what. I make 1,000, 100 goes to the Lord. And the one thing that not only am I obedient to God, but that money, especially if you're actively in a church or maybe you're just donating it somewhere or to a local charity. I know that money is going to help other people. That money is going directly back into my home church, into my local community. Maybe there'll be a woman that week that needed food or diapers for her baby, or for the homeless vet on the corner that doesn't know where his next meal is going to go. I love to know not only am I being obedient to God, but that 10% is investing into the people that I'm doing life with in my community. And let's face it, ladies, we have no idea what's coming in the future. Who knows one day? I mean, God forbid, please Lord, people lose their whole houses to a fire or a tragedy happens. You never know, ladies, when you may need a miracle like that and you might need somebody to come up and to help you and to your family or something like that. And it just gives me peace to know that, hey, not only am I investing the people around me, but, I'm trusting in God with this money. And it was hard to do in the beginning. And you might be thinking, I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I'm broke. You want me to give a whole 10% of my money away? But I promise, ladies, this is also the only area in the Bible that God says, you can test me in this. You can test him in this, that you tithe, he will come through. And I hear testimonies about it all the time. Even my daughter this year, she had a wonderful breakthrough of testimony after she did her first tithe. And it was absolutely amazing. She had a car issue and she ended up getting the things she needed to cover it by a mysterious check that came in the mail for something back in the future. So it was crazy. But I really encourage us, ladies, we are going to tithe and give our first 10% to the Lord and just entrust him that he's going to take care of us. And then after that, it's our responsibility. We got to steward this other 90%. And that's where I really want to talk about is being faithful, because faith and wisdom are going to come together. Can't have one without the other. And this is where we're not paying attention to where our money's going and not, being on a budget and spending everything we have, we're not going to get to that financial piece. It's just not going to happen. We need to be planning ahead, being intentional, creating healthy financial habits daily. And when we do this, these small daily habits turn into lifetime freedoms, ladies. You can. You can do a whole lot of great things when you're no longer in debt. all those things you're dreaming about, all that, you can do it. And let me tell you, you can do hard things, ladies. And let me tell you, no matter how bad it looks, I don't know your financial situation, you can get out of it. There's always a way. And if you implement these wonderful things, which we're going to talk about in here, and a lot of this great knowledge for the Dave Ramsey's program, you can get out of it, and you can get out of it a lot faster than you think. I was shocked. Once I really started grinding out in this program, I mean, it's amazing where I am a few years. I just can't believe it. It's amazing. And it's just so much freedom coming outside of that debt and living paycheck to paycheck and just really having good, healthy habits financially in my life. So I'm excited to talk about that today. So we're going to get into it, ladies. Here we go. We're going to get into creating a budget. And I kind of want to break down too, like, you know, grand scheme inner budgets, like what percentage of what should go to what, you know, like how much should go toward your house, how much should go to your, you know, subscriptions or your food or stuff like that. I think that's really important too, because, you know, if you're sitting over here and you've got a mortgage payment or your apartment costs, you know, 50 to 60% of what you're bringing in, you got too much house, okay? We're going to have to make some changes here, kind of balance things out a little bit. When I first started going through the program, before we even started getting into a budget, he encouraged us all, and Dave Ramsey, the wise man, says you want to build an emergency fund, just something that separates you from that and the next crisis. And let's face it, ladies, you know there's always a crisis. Something's going to break. I always laugh because every single time my fiance comes home, I don't know what it is, something breaks in the house. It's either the microwave or the refrigerator or it's something with the car. It never fails, you know? And having an emergency fund is vital because when you have a little bit of cushion over here, you're not having to use your credit card every time a crisis comes in. So he says the first thing you want to do is try to get to $1,000 emergency fund. You know, and that might be something to get you there a little faster. You know, you might have to be saying no to some things. You know, for me, it was I had to start packing from home. I was going out to eat with my coworkers every day out to the food court or whatever just to try to get out of work for a little bit. But let me tell you, ladies, that stuff adds up real quick. You know, maybe you've got a bunch of unnecessary subscriptions that you don't need, you know. Gosh, I think it's so easy nowadays. You could be signed up for like 7 different subscriptions just to watch TVs because they all separate them and all these different things, you know, like maybe they'll lock that down to maybe I only need 1 or 2 streaming services, you know, or going in a family plan together with somebody else. But I swear, there's always a way that you can cut. So as fast as we can, ladies, we need to be building $1,000 emergency fund. And then we need to be getting on a budget. This week, I really want us to sit here and start thinking about a budget, you know, and I've really wrote down here of the essentials that we want to cover in our budget. And also too, which is free, and I'm going to put a link below. Ladies, they have the most amazing app. It's called the EveryDollar app. And it's literally, you can plug in absolutely everything. You can plug in all your mortgage, you know, your rent, your car payments, your groceries, every single thing. You put it into this app and you literally want to budget everything out to, as it says, every dollar. And you literally put it in there. And as you spend these things, you can link it straight up to your bank account and it will literally minus it out of what you're doing. And really for the first couple months while you're getting yourself on a new budget, it's great to kind of just, you know, don't have huge goals at first. You're really just trying to get a full picture of what your money looks like and where is it all going? You know, is it going out to eating out? Is it going out to entertainment? Am I overspending in this area? Where's an area can I cut? You know, how is my grocery budget looking compared to another family's grocery budget? You know, for me, it took the longest time. It's going out to eat. I absolutely love going out to eat. I don't like to cook. It's not my jam. And anytime I have the opportunity to go out, I want to. But when I was in this mode of trying to get out of debt and do these things, I had to cut that off. And it was hard. But I learned some new skills of cooking at home and realized that, yeah, a lot of these things still do taste good at home. And they're literally like a third of the cost. And real quick, I found some money to put towards that emergency fund to really start hitting back and paying off my debt. So definitely encourage you ladies, to get an idea, really sit this week and look, and where's my money going? So it says here, when we're creating a budget, we want to break it down into categories. And they're saying here for your housing, your rent or your mortgage, you really don't want to be spending more than 25% of your take-home pay towards where you're living. 25%, that's it, because anything above those, and then you've got, your utilities and house. I mean, you could be easy taking half your half monies. And y'all know the way this economy, these gas prices, ladies, just that alone. And your food, you could easily skyrocket and get out of balance there. So definitely, take a look. What is your take-home pay? Are you more than 25%? Of where you should be on your housing and things like that. Maybe if you are just renting or something, maybe that could look like maybe getting a little bit, after this rents up, maybe something a little bit more cost efficient, a little bit lower, save a little bit of money there. So definitely try not to be over that 25%. Groceries. Saying here, we don't want to be more than like 15% of our take home on our groceries. And I will say a really good way to save some money, which I have lately, and I'm so glad somebody told me about this, is Aldi's. I don't know if y'all have an Aldi's by you, but I'm going to tell you what. I literally save hundreds of dollars a month by shopping at Aldi's. I have to go a little bit more frequently, but I'm telling you, it's absolutely amazing. And if you're not bothered by, some of the stuff's name brand, but a lot of it's just the Aldi brand. But I'm telling you, their meats are great. The produce, I actually prefer Aldi's produce over Walmart. And they have a lot of great sales. And I'm telling you, I have literally got my grocery budget in half by shopping at Aldi. So definitely check it out. Another one, too, is transportation, your car, or what you're paying. They're saying we really shouldn't be over 10 to 15% for your car. And I will tell you what, they're saying here, I did some research earlier, that the average car payment in America is $500 to $700 a month. I almost fell over. I was like, now, I no longer have a car payment, but when I did, I think it was only around like $350, but $700, ladies? That is a lot of moolah to be driving to and from work. So, definitely be thinking about that. And I'm telling you, I've seen couples in my church, they're getting so desperate to get out of debt, they done sold their car and went and got a Craigslist car to where they didn't have no payments and just paid their insurance. Sometimes if you're ready to get out of this and step into that new freedom, sometimes you got to make some drastic choices. And sometimes that might be selling that $70,000 car. You know what I'm saying? That it looks nice, but are we really living outside our means? So really, or maybe sometimes your bank, if, interest rates go down, maybe you have the option of like refinance or something like that. But definitely try to see where you fall on these areas, and these percentages. Like, because let me tell you, that hurts, ladies. $700, then you're probably paying insurance. You easily can be paying somebody's rent a month just to drive your car. It's outrageous. Also, too, gym memberships, subscription memberships. Like I said, I think everybody has a subscription for everything nowadays, and it can be really easy to rack up a couple $100 worth of subscriptions a month. People are doing the food box deliveries. You got your gym memberships, all these different online, to watch these certain shows or these certain movies. And I'm telling you, it can just get out of control. So I always like to do a check every once in a while and be like, hey, if I'm not really watching this streaming or movie site or Paramount Plus or whatever, I'm just going to cancel it. It might only be $16 a month, but hey, every dollar counts, ladies. So really be going through, checking into that. Our insurances that we pay, our health insurances, car insurance, we want to be right around that 10 to 15% as well. Rule of thumb after we get out of debt is you want to be saving 10 to 20% and be putting back in a month. Obviously, too, we want to be investing, and we'll talk about that in another episode. But definitely, eventually, once we getting this stuff paid down, you want to be saving, starting at least a good 10%. And like I mentioned earlier, me, where I'm at with my walk with the Lord, I faithfully tithe, and I'm going to encourage you ladies to trust God in this. But, like I said, when I'm budgeting all my stuff, I'm coming out of my 90%. My first 10% comes first, and then I start doing my budget from there. Now that I've got debt free, most of my stuff that I'm kind of just putting it in my investments accounts and savings. And, we all need fun money. And listen, we need to be budgeting in that too. If you're in a lot of debt, ladies, we're not going to be having as much fun as somebody who's out of debt. That's just the way it is. It's the way it goes. But we don't want to be miserable in the process. It's like we can never go out and do anything. Otherwise, we're never going to stick with it, So definitely when we're doing our budgets or looking at our budget this week, ladies, leave yourself a good at least 10% of your budget to treat yourself, to go out, whether it's meet your friend at the coffee shop or you want to see a movie, listen, life's short. Lord doesn't want us miserable. We don't want to be miserable. And if you're out here, doing the right things, we just, treat yourself to something nice every once in a while. Like it keeps you motivated and keeps you in a good mental health place. So, we don't have to suffer, for everything. But, you really want to keep yourself on track. And if you make this budget, stick with it. It's so important that we don't just write all these things down and be like, oh, it's fine. I'll do that next week, next paycheck. I really just want to do this week. And a lot of the times it's 1 week will turn to 2 weeks, and it's really easy to get off track. So I'm going to encourage us to just, if we're setting, these intentions down to get this stuff paid off, then let's stick with it, ladies. And that's where the tribe's going to come in there, If one of you ladies put in here that my goal this week is, to start towards my emergency fund, and you're starting to fall off the thing, hey, I want you to put a message in our Facebook, Grace and Growth. I'm going to be in there. I'm going to encourage you on. You can do this, girl. You got this, whatever you need. I'm going to be there for you. Shoot, we're going to Zoom call it out, whatever we need. But let's really, really click in and hold ourselves accountable and be obedient to God in this way. Because I promise you, if you show up, He's going to show up. And like I said earlier, when He can trust you in the little, He's definitely going to trust you in the much. And I don't know about you ladies, but I want the much. I want to eventually be able to retire. I don't want to work for the rest of my life. And when I get there, I'd like to have a couple dollars, to be able to travel and do things. And whatever your financial peace looks like and your dreams look like, you can have it. You just got to do it. And I'm telling you, you could put it off for another 5 years or 10 years, but I'm telling you, the only thing you're hurting is your future self. And I'm just going to encourage you ladies, just do it today. Show up, Today's habits create tomorrow's future, and it can be better, and it can be freedom, and it can be all the things that you want. If you want to get that business, if you want to start saving, you can do it. You can have it. You just got to keep showing up and keep grinding, and it's gonna happen, ladies. And keeping yourself on a healthy budget is super important. And also too, if you are getting yourself in a budget, and once you get to that $1,000 emergency fund, ladies, and you're ready to start hitting on that debt, which, it felt great when I started to chuck down on it. You want to do what he called the snowball debt approach. Essentially, you want to start at your smallest balance and work up to your largest. There's people out there that are like, well, if you got a bunch of credit cards, obviously you're going to want to pay off your credit card that has the highest interest rate. But, they did studies of persons doing both ways back to back, and you actually, they didn't they didn't really finish any faster than anybody else. So you actually will get there a little bit quicker when you pull off doing the small debt and work it to first, So let's say you've got a few credit cards, your lowest one's 200, you first pay off that 200, then you roll into the next one. Now, whatever you were paying on that first credit card, you roll that money plus some into next, and you just keep chucking it on like there. And for me, and which they suggest, and I know this was so hard, ladies, they pulled out the scissors and everything. They had us whip out our credit cards right there and cut them suckers up. They're like, who paid off a credit card this week? And me, I'm like, yeah, so proud of myself. Done come over with scissors, literally had it cut it up. I was like, and at first I was terrified. I was like, oh my God. What if I don't have enough this week or something happens? And, it really doing this process, one, it was a little terrifying, but two, it really put me in this place of dependency on God because I had to trust in the Lord. Lord, if I'm walking through and I'm doing these things and walking in obedience with you and, as God says in the Bible, don't be a slave to the lender. I'm needing you to show up here. And let me tell you, you want to talk about pray over money. I about prayed over money 4 or 5 times a day and never did he fail me. I did my full tithe. I followed the program. I cut up the credit cards as I did it. And let me tell you, I made it through. It took a few years and there was sometimes I really wanted some stuff and had to say no to myself. But I'm going to tell you right now, from doing that and where I'm at, my future looks so much better. I'm walking in so much less stress and financial peace. And my dreams and my hopes when I get older is I want to be able to bless people, just outrageously bless people and be in a financial place that if I come across a woman that is struggling or a single mom and don't have a car, I can just buy her a car. That I can just do those things because of what God has done for me and shown me in his wisdom and me getting out of this debt and growing and learning all these fantastic things. I can bless somebody else. And that's what my future looks like, and I'm excited for that. And I know if I keep showing up every day and keep doing these healthy habits, I'm going to get there. And I'm going to be a blessing to somebody else. And it's just such a peaceful place to be in. And I know, ladies, this stuff I'm asking is hard. It is hard, I know what it is to live paycheck to paycheck. And it's scary and it's stressful. And the thought of throwing money for things you don't have, but there is a way. And if you follow these steps, it does work. I mean, I don't even know how many people have gone through Dave Ramsey's program, but I mean, there's people who are literally on their way to being baby step millionaires, and you can too. It's just making that choice. And I'm wanting us this week to really take a look at our finances and make that choice to, hey, I'm going to make a healthy habit this week to make the change. Maybe I haven't really given much attention to my budget lately. I have one, but I haven't really assessed it in a while, and things have changed a little bit for my family, or I've signed up for some new things, just maybe if you already have one, just go back in and reassess, what can you do, And I really want you, if you are in a relationship or if you're single, either way, maybe bring a friend over, have a dream money meeting. I love these when I went through the program. I think they're so important. I literally got and made a vision board of all the things that I wanted to have and, what I saw myself doing. And if I had more money, what do I do with it? And I had that posted on a poster board outside my room. Actually, I still have it. I keep it up there. And I just love looking at it and all the things on this board that I wanted, to see them come to fruition by staying consistent and showing up every day. It really does help you stay motivated when you have those tough days because they're going to come. Those tough days are going to come. There's going to be days like, oh my God, I keep telling myself no to all these things. I feel like I'm never going to have this. I'm never going to get through this hurdle. It's going to be this way forever. I'm telling you, ladies, there is hope on the other side of it, and you can do it. And I'm just proof in the pudding. As I said, you can have it, and you just got to stick with it. And it might be a little long, but in the grand scheme of life, just a few years later, here I am, been able to, by the speed of cash, go on trips and do these things. And I just had to say, I had to, put that on for a little bit and get a little uncomfortable for a little bit, but it was amazing. And I had some really strong, amazing women and accountability partners around me. And that's why I love Tribe 66 and what it can be. And like I said, after I post this video, I'm going to put some challenges in there. And I really encourage us to be brave and to put out there. I'll put what I'm going through or things I'm saving for, and just really put it in there and just have women praying over you and encouraging you. And if you're having a tough time, put it in there. Let us lift it up. Let us bring it to the Lord. Let's get you through that season. Because let me tell you, you can do it. I know you can do it. And it's just going to be amazing. And I really thought it would be amazing. Who knows where this podcast will grow or who I'm going to meet through it. But really one day I thought it would be amazing if we would all be able to meet up, maybe in one city, or, I live in Nashville, around the Nashville area, or, wherever that might look like, that we all can get together and link up and have like a Tribe 66 reunion, and just to kind of see what everybody's doing. And, being out of debt and financially secure will help you get a plane ticket. So I'm really excited. I think that's going to be an amazing thing to show up. So I'm going to leave us to that this week. I want us to challenge us this week to really bring God into it. You can trust in Lord with your finances, really assess, what are my goals? What are my dreams? And let's start the basics out with trying to get yourself, if you're in a tight spot, living to paycheck, to build yourself up, that $1,000 emergency fund. And then let's start hitting that debt, ladies. And I'm going to be right there encouraging you on. Create a new budget, maybe find some new creative ways to save some money. Maybe I'll put some little tips and tricks in the Facebook group about, like I said, Aldi's or different things, or maybe some subscription sites or ways, to stream or to get things to save you a little bit of cash, Why not? We can all help each other out. And if you guys got some ideas on here, be like, hey, there's a different way. If you guys like to go try out new gyms, or if you're really into working out in the gym, and I know those fees can be expensive. My daughter was telling me that there was an app out there for you can download and you literally get credits to go try out different gyms a month. So you don't have to pay, those $100 gym fees, but you can try a couple out a month and you just pay at a tier. And it was really, really cool. I'll have to get the name for that. And maybe I can put it down here in the description once I talk to her later. But there's always ways out there to do things that you want to do, but to do them on a budget and, to save some money and still enjoy your life, So I really encourage us to share that around and ways that we can cut it, for sure. And then also, I just really want to say, if you're listening to this, I just want to remind you that God is in it. He is here with you. You can do this. He is going to encourage you on. We just need to continue to show up. We need to encourage each other. And I'm just going to be right here along with you, praying with you and encouraging you. So like I said, ladies, I'm challenging you one action this week. Create a fresh budget, or maybe have that financial meeting, or maybe this is your week to tithe for the first time. That could be exciting, maybe tithe for your church. Maybe you've never done that before, I'd love to hear your testimony. Be like, hey, I tithe. Boom, this happened. Oh my God, it's amazing. Because I'm telling you, this is the area of my life that God has just blown my mind, is with my money. It's just absolutely amazing. So that would be a cool testimony to hear. And also just, it's going to be worth it. Never, ever have I said, God, I wish I didn't get out of debt. Never. And I'm telling you, you just got to show up every day. These small little habits, they add up. Your life is just one giant compound interest of healthy habits. And let me tell you, stack those all together and it's just amazing. So I really hope this encouraged you a little bit, and kind of, if you haven't really thought about your money in a while, to get thought going a little bit, get you a little excited. Like, you know what? I am this week. I'm going to get a little budget going. I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to look into this tithing thing. What does God say about this? And I'm just excited to come along that journey with you, and we just grow and just be amazing and debt-free and doing all the things, and anything you want, ladies, you can have it. And just seeing God do miracles in your life and grow you in every aspect, mind, body, and soul, and especially your money. So I'm excited for that. And don't forget, subscribe. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, subscribe below. You won't miss the next episode. Share this with a friend. I'm a strong believer in accountability partners, Maybe you and your girlfriend are both like, hey, man, we need to get our money right. Let's do this together. Let's have some accountability partners. Let's create our budgets and, have weekly check-ins, whatever that is, but definitely share it with a friend. Subscribe below. I'm super thankful that you listened and you're here today. And like I said, I'm going to be here next week. I'm going to be praying over you. I'm encouraging you. And I'm going to put a challenge in here to see what you ladies are doing, see what you're working on your budget. And I'm going to get one for myself too. Not exactly sure what it is yet, but I'm going to put it in there, ladies, and we're going to hold each other accountable for it. So you have a blessed week. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.